Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you all are having a wonderful morning so far. We are going to get started here on grading and assessment tools in Google. My name is Melissa Matthews. I work for the Department of Educational Technology, and I'm here with
Gail Siglakis. Good morning, everyone.
And Gail is actually going to take the lead on this one and teach you all about grading and assessment within Google. But before we get started, I just want to offer you guys a few tips to make your viewing a lot nicer. So the way I've instructed most of you to go on is to go to weeklywebinars.palmbeachschools.org. And when you get here, let me refresh that page real quick because apparently it doesn't even have the little player. There you go. I can hit that little player and it'll start. And it looks fine here, but I'm going to go ahead and click that YouTube link because if I do, then I'll be able to see my chat. So when I do that, it actually went to I have two monitors here. So it went to the other monitor and you can see that here is my chat window and I'm going to switch it from top chat to live chat. And that way I'll be able to see all the messages. Sometimes with top chat, it goes away. You also see how my picture is very blurry and hard to view. If I click on this little settings gear and I make that quality 720p, woo, I can read it now. It's clear. Yay. So hopefully that helped you quite a bit. Feel free to chat in the chat window if you have any questions, comments, or otherwise. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful Gail Siglakis.
All right. Good morning. So we're going to talk about grading and assessment tools this morning. And one of the first questions we put up here for you guys to answer or shout out in the messaging is, what are some of your favorite practices or tools that you use when grading and giving feedback digitally? So are you using anything now? Are you using Google Classroom? If you are, what types of tools within it do you enjoy using to grade assessments? So if you could just put those off to the side here, and we'll look at those in just a minute. So what we're going to talk about first is going live into Google Classroom, and we're going to look at some of the private comment tools you can use, the new grading feature, having the canned comments, kind of like you have canned responses in Google Mail. And I'm not going to go live into the Google app, but just so that you know, there is an app for Google Classroom where you can do some additional grading features. So we're going to go ahead and go live into Google Classroom and check some of those out. Let's see. Somewhere, here we go. Okay. So I made a fake Google Classroom. You'll see some of the students, you might recognize their names, like Tasha and Melissa are in here. My daughter is in here too. She's in first grade, but now she's a Edtech specialist for the day.
Oh, nice. You got promoted.
Yes, she did. So I'm just going to pop back into the main page of Google Classroom, and you'll see that I just created an assignment. So I'm not really going into Google Classroom itself today. We're just going to talk about some of the grading tools that you can use. So I'm going to go into the assignment, and the nice thing you can do is see who has turned things in or who hasn't. Obviously, everyone's turned them in. There are no waiting to be turned in. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention, just because we talked about it yesterday? Yeah. Was if you are living in the old Google Classroom, like you don't see the Classwork bar up here, you would just see stream and people, and you're scared to move over to the new one because you're afraid you're going to lose everything. Just a real quick tip. If you go down to the question mark, you'll see, in this case, it's going to say remove the Classwork page because I'm already in the new version. But if you are not in the new version with Classwork, you're going to see add Classwork page. And if you click that, all it's going to do is add the Classwork tab here, which makes organizing assignments a lot easier and creating topics. So I just wanted to share that out quickly in case you're still living in the old Google Classroom and you want to update. All right. So going back to the assignment, we're going to go ahead and open up, let's see. Well, Daphne has an assignment there, so we're going to click on that. So For today, we're looking at an assignment where they had to submit an essay. And then we're going to talk about some different ways that you can use the grading features when going through an essay. What you'll see at the top of the grading screen is the students' names, and now you can quickly scroll through them. So instead of, it used to be you had to go into each individual one and click it. Now you can just scroll through it and it'll show you their work. So let's go through what I'm going to do with this. So I have an essay. Now what? One thing that I like to do is, as the kids are working on assignments, so remember, whenever you post something to Google Classroom and you make a copy for all the students to start working on, you can see their progress before they actually submit anything. So while Daphne is working on her essay, even though she hasn't clicked turn in, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be able to leave comments. So for example, I read this section here and I said, wait a second, talking about anime is going to come up later. Are you going to describe it? So one tool you can use is commenting. So you would highlight the area that you're looking at. And then let's just, so I won't do specifics. Let's just say, can you provide a citation here? And then I'm just going to put comment. So while Daphne is working on her essay, she's going to see these comments pop up on the side of her essay while she's working in it. So you can see that's going to be a great tool for her to be able to correct as she goes, instead of having to do all that work in the end. So you can use your comment tool on the side. That's very helpful. And then as Daphne sees it, she can click resolve as she goes through. Another feature I wanted to show you is if you scroll down at the bottom. Now this is kind of on your own, but good grading practice, I guess. Right now I'm in suggesting, which means if I were to go here and say, let's say this shouldn't be capital, we can say this is supposed to be not cherry blossom, let's call it cherry street. So if you're doing suggestions, then what you're doing is crossing out their work and putting what should be there, and then they can decide whether they want to keep it or leave it. So I think it just depends on what work you want to, how much you want to put into it, because obviously if you're suggesting you're putting a lot of time into it, or if you're just pointing them in the direction with a comment, you're putting a little bit less time in. Another thing that I like to do in the assignments is insert a rubric. So at the bottom, or a place to put scores into that's more specific instead of just a grade. So all I did was create a table in another doc. I copied it and pasted it into the bottom of the student's work. And now I can go in and put a final grade at the bottom and make it more specific, because here you can only put in one grade. So you can actually insert your rubrics into students' work. When you're doing that, you want to make sure that you switch over to editing, which now means that anything you do in this work here is going to change the student's writing. So you're basically deleting something and then rewriting in your own words, which we don't want to do because we don't want to give them the answers, right? But copying and pasting, yeah, we don't want to write it for them. But this is one of my favorite grading tools here, is to be able to insert rubrics or templates into the bottom of their paper so they can go back and see specific feedback.
Did you say what PFO, EE, and C mean?
No, I can. Any writing teachers out there? If you're a writing teacher, you know that means purpose, focus, and organization, evidence and elaboration, and conventions, and then I have a total score. So if you're writing, you recognize those right away. If not, sorry.
See, I taught second grade. We never went that far.
Yeah, that's true. But really, you can make it anything you want. Whatever categories or topics you're grading on is just adapting your rubric to that. Okay, so
I like the way it's embedded right in the page.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll just, if I have it like a real rubric where it has like descriptors, I just highlight the box so that they know what score they earned. Okay, so that's one way you can actually write or score directly into the student's paper. And then if you look on the right here, you have a whole nother section for scoring. So we'll start with the obvious, which is the grade. So you're determining this grade at the beginning when you create the assignment, but you can also change it if you need to. If you need to change the grade, you just change your total points. So
that grade there, so at first I was looking, and at first I thought that was an add-on. But that is part of Google Classroom, in case anybody else thought the same as me.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, because at first I was like, oh, we're add-on is that? So
yeah,
that's Google Classroom.
No, it's nice. Yeah,
okay.
It's very user-friendly now. Yeah, it looks like an add-on, looks like a rubric kind of thing, but it's what's there.
Yeah.
So you put your score in, and then good grading practice, we leave a comment, right? Because we want to let them know what they did good, or if they lost points, where they lost points on. So you can type directly in there. Great writing, make sure to look out, or editing, or whatever it is that we want to direct them towards in the essay. Another feature, and if I just clicked post, you'd see that it would post directly to the student. They can, and then I can come back in and add comments later on as they continue to work on the paper. Another feature is the comment bank. So when we were talking about mail last week or the week before, I can't remember when it was, we talked about canned responses and how you can now create, instead of, if you have to send the email over and over again, you can have the canned response that you can just click on. This kind of works just like that. So you're going to create a bank of comments that you would want to, after you read 120 essays or 120 of anything, your eyes start to crisscross and you start to get a little crazy typing the same thing over again. So these are banks that you can use. So if you click on it, it's going to say copy to clipboard. And then when you go back, you can just go use your shortcut keys, Control V or whichever device you're on, and paste it into the comments without having to type it. Although I question, like if you're a fast typer, to me, it's faster just to type it out. But if you don't like typing and you're not very fast at it, then I would suggest using the comment bank at the top. Okay, another feature in here. Oh, we want to make sure at the top, if you're ready to, like I said, if the kids are working on it and it's a work in progress, we're not going to return anything back to them yet. But at the top is where you decide if you want to return just this one paper. Okay, Daphne's done, so I'm just going to grade it and return it to her. And my other people aren't ready yet, so I'm just going to return the one. Or you can return all of them if you like to get, if you like to power grade and just go through it all at once and then return them all. So kind of has some choice there and how you want to do that. So let's say I want to return it to Daphne. She'll see the comments in there and be able to also reply back in the grading tool. The only thing that's different here, like Melissa said, it's part of it, is this column you guys don't have yet. It's called grades. That's a new feature that's in beta. So hopefully that comes out and then you have a nice grade book in your Google Classroom. But we're not there yet. Okay, so one more thing I want to talk about in Google Classroom, and then I'm going to talk about a really neat grading tool called Goformative.
I want to share one thing before you move on. I'm throwing her a curveball because now I'm going to mess up her time.
No, it's
so you can show this part, and then I just want to actually on that page. The hard part for me was when you get the new tab that says Classwork or Gradebook. I'm sorry, and you're trying to actually export your grades. So click on Grades for a minute. It gives you this beautiful like grade book, right? But there's no export feature to export all of your grades. The only way to do that is to go back into Classwork, back into the assignment, and then over here in the top right corner, there's a gear, and you can download all your grades as a CSV and import them right into SIS if you need to. And there are instructions we can share with you to do that. But I just wanted to point that out because we were looking and we could not for the life of us figure it out. And that is the only way.
And everybody has that question because if you're grading Google Classroom, how do you take the grades and put them into?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was when me, Rebecca, and Tasha had to teach this, and we were all going back and forth trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I think it's also, I mean, depending on who you talk to, for me, I just sat there with my gradebook open and Google Classroom gradebook open and just went down the line and put them in. It's very quick. Yeah. But I understand some people don't want to do that and they want to have the download a file and upload it. Okay. Last thing in Google Classroom, and then we'll move out to Goformative. So you can see it's in a view like it's in this condensed view here, and you have the grading tools over here. But let's say you want to go full screen with it. If you just click that arrow, it's going to open it up as like a regular Google Doc. And now you can do all the regular features that you would be able to do in any doc you're working in. So you can have the top bar where file, edit, insert, view, all that good stuff. And I know this was probably covered when you guys talked about docs. I don't know when the last time Melissa did one on docs was, but
I don't either.
The plus feature might have been a while ago. Let's say I'm coming over here and this is a paper that sometimes, you know, we don't always check feedback. We don't always go back and look at comments, or like we're working on things all the time here, and people will go change something or edit something and want you to look at it, but we don't think to go look. So one of those tools you can use is that plus feature in your comments. So all I did was highlight a section that I want that child, Daphne, to go back and focus on. So I'm going to put plus, actually, let's see, Daphne is really a student, so it should work, right? Yep. Let's see.
Uh-oh. Why don't you do it to me?
Yeah, that's true. Melissa. Okay.
You got
plus. Okay, so whoever it is you're reading that paper, if you do the plus and then start typing their name, as long as they're within our domain, you're going to find their name pop up, and then you'll be able to write them a little message and say, I want you to, can't type and write at the same time, talk and write at the same time. I want you to go back and reread this section. And then I'm going to click assign. So what that's going to do is now send whoever it is you're assigning it to, you're sending them an email notification that they have to go in and go to that doc and do something in it. Even if it's something simple like go read the feedback, right? For students, this is helpful. So if you do that little plus, it helps just to get their attention and signal them back, and when they go in, they're going to see the check mark that they've done. Checked it off my list. Yep. So any other things for that, like the plus? I think
they will get an email, so they won't have to go back and wait for this. If you do that plus, it emails them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's Google Classroom.
You can do more than one person in there as well, if you need to, which is nice.
Yeah, you can just keep going if it's a group of kids working on the same thing.
Yep.
Tosh will pop up. So you just plus away all the ones you want to go back and look at it. If it's a group project too. All right, so that's grading in Google Classroom. So I want to quickly, we did talk about going into Goformative.
Oh, I love
Goformative. Okay, so I'm going to go in. All right, so this to me is kind of like a hidden gem because I don't know if everybody knows that it exists. And I know that teachers love colors. So that's one of the good things with Goformative is it gives you these beautiful colored printouts of your students' work, and it also makes grading super easy. Like tests with short responses, this just streamlines the process. So first things first, basically Goformative is a website where you can go and you can create assessments. Your kids join through Google. And then you assign it to them. They complete
it. See, and what I like it for is it converts your assessments. So if you have an assessment in some other tool, like a worksheet or something, you can import that in and it will say, what kind of question do you want? One, what kind of question do you want? Two, and it will literally convert the PDF into a form or a quiz, if you will.
Yeah, so for me, I know, like I get my hands on some of the paper-based tests, and you know they're gonna go away. You're gonna lose them. You're gonna have to make copies of them. So I just take the extra time and type them up into. Normally, I buddy up with someone because we're doing it together, and we just take the time and just fill it in, get the questions into Goformative, and then you have it digitally. So you go to create a new formative, and your plus, it's kind of like forms. So the plus is going to be adding questions or adding features. We're going to look at the free feature because we like it free. But
for me.
There are more options that do lots of cool things, which is neat, but free works for us. Okay. So with the free, you get all this stuff here, which is cool. You still get a lot of stuff. You just, there's the things missing. So they do have the multi-select, which is big right now with FSA testing. Multiple choice, you have essay, you have short answers, you have show your work, which is really cool. I'll show you some examples of that.
Love show your work.
Yep, true, false. And you can embed images, text blocks, and videos into it as well. So you do have some of these features. You just don't have the audio feature in the free version. So we'll stick with that.
Okay.
Yep.
There's no audio on the FSA or anything, is there? So we're good.
Yeah. Well, we can't do everything.
We can't. Yeah, no.
This is one magic tool,
Hey,
but
free.
it can't get. It's free. So I'm just gonna open up an old test that I made, so you can just kind of see how it works. When you pick your question types, multiple choice, you type your question, you type your answers just like you would in a form, and then you pick the one that you know is the right answer. Yeah, anywhere you see that little star is the paid feature, so we can't randomize it, but that's okay. The end result you'll see is really worth it. Okay, so you can do part A, part B questions. All right, so I'll show you that show your work feature. So if part A is the typical question, choose your response, part B is going to be show your evidence. So all I did was take a snapshot of a passage. You could type it in if you wanted to, but I think the kids like the show your work kind of feature where they get to actually use the touch feature on Chromebooks and stuff.
For sure.
So I took a snapshot. This was out of a paper pencil test, believe it or not a digital one. So snapshot, and then inserted the picture of the passage, and the kids go in, and when they answer the question, they actually take their finger and they can use the touchpad on the Chromebook or just use the mouse to draw lines under the evidence that supports the answer. So that would be an example of show your work. Multi-select. And you can see if you make mistakes, you just trash can it on the side. Pretty easy. And if you do have one already made, you can do copy and pasting, or I haven't seen the upload tool, but I know you can copy and paste.
There is an upload tool. I don't know where it is, but I haven't used this in a while.
Okay. And then once you have your test created, so you can see I've made quite a few here for my kids. So I have my tests created. I label them. You can do version A, version B if you teach an advanced versus a regular class. Sometimes that comes in handy. And then you go to assign at the top, and you can see all of the classes you have and pick and choose from there who and what you want to assign it to. My suggestion is when you're using Goformative is to make sure that you assign it at the beginning of your class, not open up the assignment all day. Otherwise, we know when they get to middle school and high school, they get a little sneaky and they try to get into the test early, and So I normally just click it and open at the beginning of each class session. And you can decide if you want to return the scores directly to the kids. That's only going to work if you have no short response, or return just correct answers. So those are your options. And when it says post to Google Classroom, what that means is it's just posting that you've assigned something on Goformative. So in their Google Classroom, they're going to see the link that's going to take them to Goformative and take them to the assignment. So if you do that, you're not actually posting the test to Google Classroom. You're just posting the link to Google Classroom. All right, so this is ready for the magic. This is the review your responses. What I like about this is I'm going to hide the kids' names right now, but you can either show kids' names or hide them and just score the paper across as you go. Sometimes it's nice not to see the kids' names when you're scoring because you tend to be a little bit more, we get rid of our biases, I guess.
But I like also you can clearly see that number 3 maybe needs to be retaught.
Or hasn't been graded yet.
Okay.
So your reds are going to be either, if you know it's a short response, so let's see what 3 looks like. Oh, okay. So look, 3 was a show your work.
Yes.
So I have to, it's always going to be red and 3 until I go and grade it. Right. The nice thing is though, it does give you this layout for grading. So you can just click, you can go through each student's response and just grade it quickly. So you don't have to go into each student's response. You can click it. I'm going to give them a 0, or I'm going to give them full credit, and then on to the next student. And so like I said, this is an example of show your work. So the kids saw the picture and they had to underline the sentence that matched, that was the answer. So going back, as far as the grading piece in here goes, if it's, excuse me, multiple choice and you picked the correct answer, it's going to automatically grade it for you. But what Melissa said is a really good point, because there's been times where I look at this and I'm like, wait a second, that was a multiple choice question, but everybody had it wrong. So either I put in the wrong answer, or there was something that question, either the whole class doesn't understand it, or I didn't teach it, or I need to reteach it.
Yeah.
So you use it as a learning tool like we do with every assessment, but it gives you this really nice colorful chart. So it's visually easy to see where there's things missing. So this I know I have to grade.
And I have to apologize because apparently that import feature is gone.
Yeah.
I haven't used this in probably 2 years. And 2 years ago, their whole thing was you drag in the PDF and then you say what kind of question. And now apparently it's gone. But there is an entire library.
Yes, of other ones.
Yes. Full of questions and topics and everything.
And that's actually how I share with friends at work. So if we split up the work, then we put it into the library and then we share it that way. So nice. You don't have to actually.
That's easy.
It's easy to share assessments or work with other teachers. Let's see. Okay, so here's another example of show your work. The kids had to do a matching one. So they had the picture on their screen and then they had to draw the lines to match to the correct answers. So again, when I go in to grade it, gonna pick here. Oh, I already graded it. So you can see they got half credit because they only did 2 lines instead of 4 lines. So you can move it up, give them half credit, give them full credit, which is kind of nice because sometimes they, especially in a short response or they don't answer part of the question, to give them partial credit for it. Okay, and then the other nice feature is you can see a comparison of all your classes. So I can see all my classes, I can see what they did, where they have errors or where there's common mistakes, and then you can use that as a reteaching tool moving forward. And then let's see, anything else I wanted to talk about with Goformative. I feel like I didn't do Goformative enough justice here right now because I'm really, truly use this all the time in the classroom. And it houses your tests for the next year to come where you can pull them back up and tweak them. And again, this just shows you quickly how you assigned it to each class. So that is Goformative. And yeah, here's the library up here. So you could type in, look, some of the things that come up, algebra, persuasive advertising techniques. There's everything in that library to pull from.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to recreate the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is Goformative and grading in Google Classroom. Let's go back to just so I don't forget anything on the PowerPoint.
3 minutes, girl.
Okay.
Keeping her on task.
And then I didn't show it to you today. I actually tried to pull it up on my phone and see if I could take screenshots of it, but I can't. The grading tool on your phone for Google Classroom
is so nice. You can write all over.
Yeah, you can actually annotate on your phone.
It's
if
beautiful.
You have good internet service, which I do not, so. Yeah, so that we have go for me. Okay. All right. So homework. A snapshot of grading in Google Classroom. If you do decide to go venture out and use Goformative or share that with your friends, then you can screenshot what you've done, student results, or a test you've made in Goformative, and then post that to the homework. And then we were just talking about the timeline. Mm-hmm. So this week and then next week with Discovery is the last one for this semester. Is that what you call it? Quarter?
Yeah. Well, sure. Whatever you want to call it. Is that what we did? Yes. So March 12th. Oh, and I made it due that day. Ouch. No. Okay. So this is the last, this one is the last assignment for this quarter or semester. So all homework from January 1 till today is due March 12th. And then after that, next week starts the next quarter. So next week, we're going to learn all about discovery education and hidden gems within it. So all sorts of things that you may be looking for all over the internet and they're already in Discovery. So we're going to show you those. What else? Next slide.
That's it for now. Yeah.
Yeah. And make sure you get that survey done. Please, oh, please do that. And I'll, I don't know if I can copy and paste that link. You may need to, but let's copy let's, if you don't mind, please take that Edtech evaluation survey. And it will say, do you need additional assistance? If you want us to come out and help you with assessments and grading, then please say yes. If you just want more trainings, please say no. If that basically that is saying, you know, you want us to come to your school and help you with a training, or not even just you, maybe your entire staff, that would be a yes. Otherwise, it's a no. So hopefully that's clear. And what else? That's it?
I think that's it. And then if you have questions, just post them there. We'll hang out here for just a minute. If you have any questions about grading or Goformative, anything like that. And then if you thought that any of this was good, you can remind friends that we're coming back on at
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Right on the dot, 9 o'clock.